Ziggity zig, back with the Friday Faff, and this is a game that was sent to me from YouSeemOP, and this is a game between himself and Orphan, so it's going to be a TVT here on Daybreak. Now the reason that it's in a YouSeemOP game is we have been doing a couple of Bomb Gores games and a couple of other ridiculous things, but I wanted to keep up with sort of the casting things, so I'm just trying to cast a few games, and YouSeemOP sent this to me because I asked him for one because it was all out of games to cast, and so we didn't really have a game for the Friday Faff today. And I do really like the concept of Friday Faff because some days you just can't keep going. Now, you see down here, Orphan has decided not to use any kind of hotkeys, but YouSeemOP is already using the command center just on one, which is a good start because it is pretty early. And let's see what happens right here. YouSeemOP going for the supply depot a little bit later than Orphan. Both of them getting slightly supply blocked, but it seems like I think Orphan's gonna have a better shot at. No. Well, that's kind of interesting. Oh, there we go. Building a refinery instead, and there we go. That one is done. So Orphan can begin with the continued supply as it goes. But no, I think it seems like they both kind of finished roughly at the same time. But YouSeemOP is going to go on to make a barracks. Now, Orphan is probably going to want a barracks on at his gate as well. See, I don't really play. I don't really look at too many TVT games, so. Sort of interested to see if there's much derivation. Now, for the opening of the game, I'm just going to speed it up. I'm not going to do the entire thing ×2 because, oh my goodness, that was just, that was ridiculously. It wasn't just stressful, but it was also kind of hard on my voice at the same time, and I think I ruined it while actually casting the game. So, YouSeemOP is actually on his way down to come and have a little bit of a scout. Comes in, sees that, just sees your basic amount up here at the top. It comes in, tries to count number of refineries. YouSeemOP has no refinery just yet, but it does seem that Orphan's got one refinery. So what does that tell him? That tells him that Orphan's got a refinery, and I'm not sure what else. Oh, slips right through there, mostly because this supplied. Oh, that's a zig fall off right there. Now the bonus there is you can actually lift off the barracks, pop it up one, and then add the tech lab right there. But I don't think Orphan is going to quite have the presence of mind to do that. However, starting to build the and deciding to put the reactor right there, so that's going to screw him for now. And then going on to a factory. So that's interesting. It's probably going to be a eventual 1-1-1 build. YouSeemOP going for the two racks as well, into, and going for the tech lab, and then, I'm going to go with 3 racks. Okay, so a 3 racks up against a 2 racks in a factory. I'm not really sure if that has an actual name. Continuing on with the orbital command, I think, I'm really hoping, yep, YouSeemOP already has the orbital up. Both of them with the cool-ass pterodactyls just there. Staying ahead of supply cap, actually, Orphan going above and beyond, 24 to 51, so wasting a fair amount of money on these. Oh, I see. I think what Orphan's doing there is Orphan's just queuing up to continually be building supply depots, which is one way of doing it, but the problem there is that gives you 200, and even you're only at 28 supply of 51. Where's that scan coming from? Can't even tell. 28 supply of 51, which means that is, 300. 3 of those supply depots you do not actually really need. That's 300 minerals that you could be using on anything else, and really that could be making a bunch more production buildings. Could even put down like an engineering base, start setting up missile turrets and things like that. This seems to be, there we go. So there's the factory finally on its way in. There's combat shield and a few other things. The factory is still, actually no, the factory is done over here for Orphan. Not much going on. Actually going to add a tech lab, so possibly, I don't even know what's going to go on there. So YouSeemOP might put on a reactor, which means that he might swap that out for a starport. You never really know what's going to go on, but it does seem to be an MM. Now the third M is the only thing that we are waiting for. So once the factory's done, we'll see what's going to happen over there. Just seems to be a back and forth right here for Orphan. Not getting any marauders right now, and boy, he's all about the scan, isn't he? Oh, he's scanning to see if YouSeemOP has taken a expansion just yet. Both of them are now pretty well saturated gas, but YouSeemOP is ahead on the work count, so he is getting a slight. Wow, we're actually pretty high income. Also because I would assume that YouSeemOP is using mules. I kill 2 mil right there, whereas Orphan is deciding to use it all. Scans. So YouSeemOP is getting ridiculous amount of money right there. Orphan still just slowly making all of these supply depots, which is far too many. YouSeemOP is managing to stay just ahead of it, using supply depots just on the outside, which is cool way of doing things. There we go, getting a tech lab for tanks. Now starport on its way down, so it didn't line up on the reactor for the starport to start taking advantage of, but an MMM with tank backup is probably pretty good. Now, what I was mentioning just before is the placement of these supply depots. I really like this. You probably want to have one or two up here, or maybe that would be where you put a missile turret, because when you're on a TDT, you're expecting drops, and there probably will be quite a number of drops, and there's tanks at the same time, so they both do seem to be going roughly the same kind of build, except for right now, Orphan is not making anything other than siege tanks, and YouSeemOP is staying ahead and taking down siege tanks, and maybe one or two, actually the starport down, so he's probably going to start developing just a number of medevacs, but I don't see any medevacs right now. Nothing going on at the barracks right now, which is kind of a shame, because he does have a fair amount of money working on it, and there goes the expansion command center, which is going to happen. The starport is on this way down for Orphan, so the two of them are primarily actually using up. He's pretty much a little bit ahead as far as the army count, which is cool. Both of them just kind of deciding to be very paranoid and worried about any kind of attack of that type. There's an SEV who is kind of caught, but the lucky thing here is that instead of with Protoss buildings, these ones can be shrunk and or lifted off. There goes, so YouSeemOP getting one scout finally at about the 10-minute mark just to see what's going on. Sees a number of units just there, so knows that it's pretty much actually safe to move out, because if he sees that many units just there at the top of the ramp, there's nothing directly coming for him at the moment. Here comes a Marine doing a little bit of a scout. YouSeemOP is also holding this, is that a, yeah, it was not a Reaper. For some reason I thought it was a Reaper. So YouSeemOP has a really good awareness of the map right now. As you can see, a really good base awareness as well. Got everything all at the edges. I really love the build order there. That's just excellent. Whereas Orphan can get pretty much surprised any time. Here comes some vehicle plating and things like that. Still just getting kind of a tank war right now, except not really producing any units whatsoever. And YouSeemOP is producing some tanks and some marauders, but definitely getting up insofar as his economy and money. Let's just have a look at the income once more. It looks like Orphan is getting back into the muling. That doesn't sound right. No, that's a different word. MEW, blah, 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 blah. So there's the orbital command, and he's going to move, YouSeemOP is going to move that down to his natural expansion. Still ahead with the army supplies, just getting quite out of control. However, the worker supply is getting ahead into Orphan's favor, which means that once this second base goes down, and it would be really nice to see a split from YouSeemOP. Orphan does have the number of workers, so it looks like YouSeemOP sort of slacked off just a little bit towards the end there once he got up to 18 workers or so, but he has a couple of them not actually doing, he's got a couple of idle workers right now, but I'm really liking all these down here. So you get five barracks, 6 factory, and I don't think, no, Orphan is still not using any of the hotkeys. So yeah, this is actually a bronze game. YouSeemOP being in bronze league. Orphan I don't think was ranked at the time, so it might have been a placement match. I'm gonna speed it up once more because based on the description, there's probably going to be an awful lot more happening in here. Now, YouSeemOP comes down the ramp and does not quite set down the tanks just yet, so that tells me that he's going to start moving out any moment now, but yeah, just as I say that, bam, sets them down. So then there goes YouSeemOP going way out in front. As far as the income value, the army supply is still quite a bit up. His vision of the entire map is quite high. I really think that this and or several minutes ago would have been the time to actually start moving out, but what he's doing now is still just making a number of units, getting a few more barracks down, getting an armory down, just a number of buildings, still continuing things out. There goes an engineering bay is next, getting out this reactor, keeping the wall just in case, but also still staying ahead of supply, and it looks like he's going to try a drop with tanks. Tank drop. Well, why not? So these 3 marauders are getting kind of confusing. There we go. So we've organized that. No, you guys stay behind. You don't get to come. Oh, but we want to come. No, you don't want to go where we're going. And there's a scan by Orphan. So if YouSeemOP waits, and there we go. Got pretty lucky on that scan, because now just sort of seeming like he just had a big army there. And then Orphan does not know what is coming. And this is Orphan's view right now, and I'm a little bit worried, because any second now, this is going to come in. Goes right around, and there goes, there goes a couple of them. So he avoids the 3rd base. That could have been taken out in just a hurry, but here comes, it is Fusion Core. which is going to get taken out. Fusion core destroyed. A little bit of a battle. Well, actually quite a sizable battle up here because YouSeemOP is effectively going to fully take this out, but yes, there are Battlecruisers on because the Battlecruisers lasted long enough that the fusion core was there. These tanks still managing to take things out, but now would be the time to maybe run for it. Doesn't look like that's going to happen because he only has ground forces right now to face against these Battlecruisers. Battlecruiser medevac, yeah, that's a tough combination to face. But these tanks, the tanks are good. And then the tanks and the remainder of the units here by YouSeemOP get taken out by that tank. However, that was a pretty decent... yeah, so quite a number of things lost there, although workers, yeah. So YouSeemOP has killed 26 workers to the other ones, and it looks like now there needs to be a bit of a rebuild. YouSeemOP trying to come in with another frontal attack, which maybe was a little bit ill-advised. Definitely needs to build up army once more, but actually YouSeemOP is quite ahead in army supply, because the only things left are these Battlecruisers. Orphan is trying to get a few things going, but look at the ridiculous amount of money that both of these players now have. Orphan trying to get his buildings back up, his tech back up. You see another tech lab coming here, but of course now we no longer have a... Oh, there's the fusion core on its way, the engineering bay, and the number of buildings that were destroyed. He's just going to try to rebuild. He's back up to 2 bases, which is good. YouSeemOP is still on 2 bases, but this first base is completely mined out, so YouSeemOP finally managing to get to secure a 3rd base. I am at 2x speed. Alright, well, that was kind of fun. But YouSeemOP is still able to maintain that supply lead and that army lead. Not quite fully saturated on this 2nd base here, but the gas is taken and the income values are, well, it does seem to be a little bit in favor for Orphan, even though Orphan is not quite using all of the minerals that he could be. YouSeemOP probably ready to drop a few more mules just as soon as this base becomes active. Mules. Anyone? Because YouSeemOP has a large amount of gas, but not all that much in the way of minerals, so those mules would really offset that. This army supply is, it's just barely staying ahead, so we need to see a few more clever decisions happening here. And when you're up against... Yep, you're up against 5 Battlecruisers, so Battlecruiser tank still deciding to maintain on. Oh, and there comes a number of Vikings. 4 Vikings against 5 Battlecruisers. I'm not too sure about that, so we're going to have to rely on the Marine count. Not too bad of a Marine count, but takes out this 3rd base here, which is excellent because that's going to totally cut up and remove Orphan's ability to get any kind of income back, because now Orphan is only going to be on 1 base, whereas YouSeemOP has managed to expand to a 3rd base, but not really do anything about it, so now we need to get the remainder of these units down here and just see if we can do something about that. But this army sitting right out here at the front, I'm going to slow it down to regular speed just so I don't have to talk too fast, but here comes a few more Vikings. That will help out, because up against this number of Battlecruisers, you want something. So air-to-air, pretty good maneuver by YouSeemOP, seeing those Battlecruisers after that first battle and reminding himself, figuring out what needs to be done. Bit of a long time in order to get these units over, these SCVs over to this new base, but they do eventually get there, and that is just all it takes. So here comes the big battle here. Here are the Battlecruisers moving in, the medivacs. Medivacs basically getting taken out because no one's really controlling them all that much. Oh, and Orphan finally decides to move the medivacs back out of the fray. Those tanks that were trying to move down there on the left-hand side of the ramp, they get taken out pretty quickly, but these Battlecruisers are just doing a detrimental amount of damage. I don't know that there's that many Vikings left for YouSeemOP, and no, it doesn't look it, and I don't think there's many... There are not many Marines left either, but they are trying to do their best. Here come a couple more Marauders, and not really... They are managing to take out the ground troops, but this air army of Orphans is just almost too much, although YouSeemOP is barely managing to stay out in front of everything, and it looks like Terran infantry weapons 3 and ground weapons. We do have a 1-0. So then what YouSeemOP decides to do is come in here, since all he's got are the ground troops. But the Battlecruisers now are coming on towards YouSeemOP's base, and it looks like, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do anything about this. YouSeemOP is making some more Marauders, more Marines, and more Vikings. I'm not sure if maybe... no, I mean, what up against... a battle cruiser. You want, actually, technically ghosts you probably want. This is missile turret. So these are being taken out. I think moving these ground units, especially the tanks, taking them down towards the other side of the base, because that is just not going to be enough. Trying to move these Marines out here, trying to take out some more of these battle cruisers, just focus fire down on some of these weak ones. There's one, that one's, and it's not quite, is it going to be taken down? And yes, one down. Okay, next one down there, if we can remove the number of units, and it looks like, oh, it's just kind of a very difficult time because these Vikings are moving in against these battle cruisers, and oh no, doesn't quite get that weak one there. It looks like YouSeemOP is trying to focus fire down these battle cruisers, but now the army supply is still just about even, but these battle cruisers are slowly being taken out. The Vikings, 2 at a time, are taking out just a number of them, but I don't know that two Vikings are going to be able to take out just the one battle cruiser with maybe a few more Marines. So the YouSeemOP is still trying to get Marines and Vikings and a few, and oh no, wait, that's Orphan is now trying to get out to Banshee. So it's Marines, Marauders, and Vikings in production for YouSeemOP, and he is getting the Marines up here because this battlecruiser is up to 16 kills, but is definitely going to fall just in just a few seconds. And there, that's it. There's one battlecruiser still on the way. So if you look over at the unit count, Orphan is now down to just 2 battlecruisers, whereas this army here by YouSeemOP is quite a number higher. The Viking count to protect the battle cruisers is just a little bit low, and I think what Orphan really could have used here, instead of just going flat out battle cruiser, is something to protect those battle cruisers in general, which probably in this case might have been Vikings, might have been something else, might have been a much higher Marine count. Has had a number of buildings and a ridiculous amount of the materials needed to do that, so now seems to be set on Banshees only. So this is a Banshee Viking army, and these Vikings are going to take these out, but the problem is the 2 Vikings take out the one Viking and then just sort of ruin these Banshees' day. There are a few ground units here, and these tanks are not quite set in place, so these Marines are going to come in and cut things up, although they are just 0-0 up against YouSeemOP's 2-2, and I don't know what's going to happen, because if he needs to focus down these battle cruisers fast enough, there is just a +1 upgrade. There are no upgrades for YouSeemOP, but I think he's got it just in sheer numbers, sheer power. He's definitely over top now, and it looks like this game is just about in the bag handily, because YouSeemOP was able to continue on with his production despite Orphan's attempts to maintain anything. Finally, Orphan's trying to move out to a different third base, being mined out in both of the mains. YouSeemOP is taking base here. He's got a new base up here, which seems a strange place because you've got this secured and this one secured, but hey, you know, when in doubt, try to mess with his head. So YouSeemOP just gotten up to the 200 supply. Orphan is still thinking about maybe not having quite enough in the way of supply depots, which is odd because that's exactly what he was trying to do the entire front half of the game. Here is YouSeemOP's army, which is awesome. If we look at the unit counter, you got medevacs, you got Vikings, you got siege tanks, you got Marauders and Marines. It's a very awesome composition of things, and it looks like it's just Banshee, Viking, Marine for Orphan, which is odd, because if you have a number of Marines, you probably want some medevacs to back that up, especially since you have 0 upgrades from the, oh no, wait a minute, the engineering bay. You've got Terran vehicle weapons 1 and ship plating 1, whereas we got combat shield, we got stim pack, infantry weapons 1, and vehicles weapons 1. So yeah, YouSeemOP has finally moved out towards that. So here comes the air units, which is always the problem about the air unit and the ground units. The air units always get there faster, but oh, seeing these just moving out, oh, free SCVs, go kill them, go kill them, go kill them, go kill them, go kill them. It does see them moving out that way. Takes out one. This has probably got to be kind of a frightening idea, because what so trying to do the long distance mining, sees this base, but then here, and this is the last of the units, and yes, this is just going to be a bit of a swarming because there's only one battlecruiser, and there's a stim by YouSeemOP just moving in and taking this out. Yeah, this game was over a few minutes ago, and this is just mopping up the rest. I am pretty stoked to see this kind of play coming out of YouSeemOP, because that was well done. I loved the read on it, the moving in. The drop was quite effective, especially as it managed to take out that fusion core, and then that tells you that he's pretty committed to battle cruisers, and he wasn't able to take out the number of battle cruisers. So what does he make? Hey, let's make some Vikings, because those will take him out and keep up with the Marine the Marine and Medevac complement, and that will help in that part of the game as well. So, if you have a game that you think is funny or you think is pretty cool or pretty epic, send it over to me. Email it to ziggityzig@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at ZiggyStark, or no, wait, at ZiggityZig. I'm going to do that every time. It was a couple of years. You can leave a comment down below. You can leave a comment for YouSeemOP as well as far as the gameplay. And, yeah. That was Friday Faff. Stay tuned.